Hiya, and welcome to episode 4 of Running Cuts, so the 4th training week building towards Wrexham Marathon at the end of April. I'll start kicking off and I'll just say up front, training this week hasn't gone well. The cough cold that I started with last week, the sniffle, it got progressively worse by Sunday, pushing into Monday. I've took the week off work just as a precaution. Obviously the world that we live in at the minute, don't want to be going around spreading coughs, colds and diseases to kids. It's not a great situation to be in at all, really, when you work with children. I've still got a little bit of it, so if I do break off and have a bit of a cough, it's probably because I've not spoke to many people this week, especially for a duration of time like I'm going to be doing on the video. So I apologise for that in advance. So training, it's been floating. They've all been slow, steady runs, floating around. For me, 7-minute miles, 6 50-minute miles. I've not been able to push it much beyond that, to be fair. I've not been able to find that next gear where I've been able to comfortably push it. Chest has felt a little bit tight, felt a bit wheezy, being a little bit phlegmy as well. So it's just one of them things that obviously you can't help. So it has hindered my training this week, but it's not a setback yet, hopefully. After last night's run and then today's run as well, I have been able to push it a little bit more, so it is a sign that things are getting better, are improving. Don't want to do too much too soon, and a week of slow steady running isn't going to kill me in the long runs. It is. Good pun, that, isn't it? So it will build, and Wrexham isn't my be all and end all. I've said that going into this. It is just about finding my feet again at Wrexham and finding where I'm at, so then I can build going into the autumn marathons and into Berlin, which is hopefully happening in September. Still need to book my flights for that as well, if we're allowed. So this week then, because I've had the week away from work, it's kind of offered me a bit of an opportunity to reflect on training, and reflect on life as it is. And because I've had that week away from working physically directly with people, I have still worked from home. It's put me back into like furlough mindset, where I've woke up at 9:30 in the morning, not run in the morning. I've waited till dinner time and then run really late at night, and it's not a bad thing. It's just sleeping patterns all over the place because I don't have a purposeful structure to my day. And sometimes with training, and I touched on it last week, it is important to have that purposeful structure and that meaning in your practice. So if I know that I've got to be somewhere by a certain time, by 10 o'clock for example, I'll get up and I'll run. If I know I've got to be somewhere for 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll get up at 5:30 and I'll run. And having that purpose in your day means everything, because then you've got that structure already laid out in front of you, and you'll fit your running in and out around that. And it's also about having that consistency then, because within your week, if I know I do this, so if I've seen that in the previous week I ran 15 mile on a Monday, I'll go out on the Monday and try and beat it. So if I've seen that on the Wednesday I did a session and I did 2400 metre reps and I did them in 68 seconds or something like that, I'll look at it and I'll go and try and beat it, because I aim for consistency. Obviously I'll not do the same sessions week in week out, but I'll aim for consistency to go and try and beat and better myself within whatever session that I'm doing. And I've also looked at my other marathons this week. So the marathon where I ran 2:25, and building into that marathon, I was training with groups of people on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Obviously at the minute we can't train with groups of people, so it is something that I'm missing, and having that structure of saying, right, you've got to be at this place at this time to do a session. And whether this is a 2 mile rep session, which we did mistakenly, I'd say, at Oakwell in 32 degree heat. We did 8 2 mile reps or something like that, and I think all of us chucked up by the end of it or didn't feel well. And most of us ended up with us tops off, I think, because it was that warm, and just running up and down Pontefract Road in his boxers. Could have been a pretty sight for some people. Or it might be on a Thursday night doing hill reps together and doing short, sharp stuff, and really fine-tuning what we're building. And building into York Marathon, when I did the 2:25, I had all that, where I could run with people, and it's something that building into the autumn marathon season coming up in 6 months' time, it's something that I'll be building back in, hopefully, and COVID restrictions will allow us to do that. So that's been on my mind a little bit this week, and putting things in place, and I've been writing down my plan going into autumn, and how I'm going to build it and formulate it a little bit. So it's all building towards a goal. And last year, especially, so probably from July through to about January this year, I struggled massively because I didn't have a goal, and none of us did really, not as runners anyway. We didn't have a goal or a purpose, and it hindered a lot of stuff in my mental outlook on life, and it got me down a little bit, and because I'm so used to having that drive and that towards that goal, and it's my season always goes up and down with the marathons, so it's spring and autumn, and having that drive towards that end goal, and it did get me down last year because it really started to hit home that we couldn't race, we couldn't do anything, and it got to me a little bit, and it affected stuff in my personal life and stuff in my professional life where I just couldn't be bothered, and I did lose that aspect of me, but it's coming back, and I'm happy where I am right now, and I know that there's goals and there's things on the horizon that will better me as a person, and that's what it's about. And having those goals, whether they are small or large, such as me trying to achieve a 2:20 marathon, hopefully this year, such as me going out and trying to buy a house on my own this year, it makes a massive difference to your outlook on life, and looking at things and putting things in place and taking your little steps along the way gives you a purpose in your days. So that leads me on to my next bit, really. So about a year ago, before COVID hit, I was on a leadership course with work, and it was about being a manager and being a good leader and building an organisation for a good leader. And the woman who was conducting it, she put this video on YouTube called "Will It Make the Boat Go Faster?" So this guy is talking on the video, and he's an Olympian, he were a rower, guessing by boat. So he's an Olympian, and he's talking about his purpose in his training. So whether his training makes the boat go faster, whether his livelihood makes the boat go faster. So as a team, does it make the boat go faster? So he was looking at his training, and if he's got to do, say, 10,000 metres on the rower, will that make the boat go faster? Yes, it would. If he goes to the pub and plays darts with his mates, does that make the boat go faster? No, it doesn't. So he didn't do it. So my question to myself is, will it make me run faster? So me doing a session and a recovery run, so doing a recovery run in the morning, will it make me go faster? Yes, because in the evening when I do a session, I'll be fresher for it. Will me running 4 lots of 2 mile reps make me go faster? And yes, it would, because I'm pushing my body beyond that limit, where I can handle it. And looking at my training and reflecting, that's what I'm going to try and build into place beyond Wrexham again, and finding that purpose again. And Wrexham is going to be the perfect, hopefully, springboard to go ahead and do that. So then it leads me on to a little bit where I'm going to talk now about strength and conditioning. So strength and conditioning is something that I do, and when I first started running, I had a conflict of interest a little bit. So I wanted to be a runner and a marathon runner, but I also wanted to be a bodybuilder. I know I look like a bodybuilder, but I wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I was only 18 at the time, and I was I want chubby, but I want skinny either. And I was going to the gym, I was doing all the exercises and all the right moves to be a strong fitness fanatic, and I had that driven into my head. And I said to Kyle, who was a lad that I went to uni with and I've known for a while, and I were in the car on the way to uni, and I said, I'm going to do a marathon, but I also want to bulk up. And Kyle were a runner when he was younger, and he said, nah, you'll never find a marathon runner that wants to bulk up as well. And I was like, yeah, I can do it, mate. So I tried, and I did all right, but then push came to shove, and I found out that I needed to trim down a little bit to be a marathon runner. And when I ran my 2:40, when I won at Milton Keynes Marathon in 2017, I was actually 13 stone, which as a marathon runner is way too heavy for where I wanted to be anyway. And I ran that 2:40 at 13 stone, and then I ran 2:36, I believe, and I was still 13 stone. So I was all right. I was doing little bits, but I was still too heavy. And like going forward, I accidentally lost a little bit of weight, and I dropped down to about 12 stone, and then I ran 2:29.48 at York Marathon. So I thought, oh, hang on a minute here, I've dropped a stone, I've run 5 minutes quicker. And there's method in the madness, isn't there? And it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. So I dropped a little bit more, and I ended up getting to 11 stone 7, I believe I was, when I ran 2:25.02 at York. And this strength and conditioning aspect leads me back to, will it make me run faster? And there's aspects of strength and conditioning that you can take. So if I'm looking at my endurance side of things and doing specific strength and conditioning to improve me as a runner, it will make me go faster in the long run, because I'll be able to prevent injuries. I'll be able to feel a little bit stronger when I'm running up a hill. I might be able to do a lot of power exercises to make me a little bit actually faster, or doing some S&Q work, so speed, to improve how I can coordinate my feet in certain situations, a little bit like a footballer would. And it works a little bit on your technique then as well. But just building it into my training so that it's all building towards that goal of a sub 2:20 marathon, and having the specific practice in your strength and conditioning, rather than just doing strength work and going into the gym and pushing chest presses out or shoulder presses and doing all sorts of stuff. I was looking at, like, in my reflection, how can I use that going forward? So how can I use it to improve me as a runner? And I'll hopefully be able to put things in place by the time Berlin comes around again. But having that focus this week has allowed me, and that time for reflection has allowed me to think back, and hopefully I'll be able to springboard forward, as I've said. So this week, not been the best in terms of training, not been the worst either, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And the reflection that I've had this week, and it'll only mean good things going forward. Can I improve as a runner? Yep, absolutely. Can I improve my mentality? Yep, absolutely. And what I'll suggest to you is just take 5-10 minutes, just think about what you're doing as a runner, what you're doing as a person, and what you're doing help you achieve your goal. So if you are sat down, you're having a pint, and you really know that you want a sub 3 hour marathon, will it help you achieve your goal, and will it make you run faster? And if the answer is yeah, it will, continue to do it. But if you can think to yourself, well, I really want that sub 3 hour marathon and this probably is not going to help me, then put it down and get out running. Go and improve yourself and better yourself as a person. And if that's putting structure in place, putting purpose, setting goals, targets, running with other people on a Tuesday and a Thursday, fitting in a long run with somebody on a Sunday, whether that is doing some strength and conditioning, losing a bit of weight, putting a bit of weight on, eating well, ask yourself that question, will it make me run faster? That's it then. Episode running cooked, episode 4. Try not to extend it too long this week. I know they've been 20 minutes last few weeks, but I hope you've got something out of that. Again, if you've got any questions or anything like that, fire them away. If there's anything specific you want me to talk about, fire it away. More than happy to answer any of your questions. Cheers for listening, and thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of Running Cooked.